The Federal Communications Commission launching an investigation into media outlets NPR and PBS. Chairman Brendan Carr says the inquiry could help Congress decide whether or not to continue funding local stations. The National News Desk, Jeff Harris, joining us. And Jeff, a big portion of this investigation will focus on commercials. Tell us more about the agency's concerns.
So Chairman Carr says the agency's concern here, Didi, is that NPR and PBS are broadcasting underwriting announcements that cross the line into prohibited commercial advertisements, an act that could be violating federal law.
After decades of conservative criticism over alleged biased programming, Trump-appointed FCC Chairman Brendan Carr has contacted taxpayer-funded NPR and PBS over concerns that their broadcasts could be violating federal law by airing commercials. In a letter first obtained by the New York Times, Carr writes that, quote, it's possible that NPR and PBS member stations are broadcasting underwriting announcements that cross the line into prohibited commercial advertisements.
All broadcasters have obligations they have to comply with, and it's pretty straightforward. We'll just hold every broadcaster accountable to that. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that local broadcasters feel empowered to continue to serve their community.
Both NPR and PBS say they adhere to the FCC's rules. Agency Commissioner Ana Gomez, a Democrat, said in a statement that this appears to be yet another administration effort to weaponize the power of the FCC. NPR recently coming under fire over the alleged bias. Last spring, former NPR senior editor Uri Berliner wrote that while the organization has always had a liberal bent, recent coverage showed a, quote, distilled worldview of a very small segment of the U.S. population.
For me, what's different about NPR is we are a public service institution. We have a public mission. We have a particular obligation to reflect America, to understand people from all different outlooks.
This year's FCC investigation comes as CBS News has agreed to provide the agency with the full transcript and camera feeds from their October 60 Minutes interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris over allegations of news distortion. Then presidential candidate Donald Trump sued the outlet for $10 billion in a Texas federal court just days before the November election, alleging the editing of the interview intentionally confused and misled the public.
She gave some really stupid answers, and what they did is they cut those answers out and they put other answers in. And I think it's really, I think it's a very bad act.
CBS News has repeatedly denied Trump's claims, calling his accusations false.
Next month, the House Subcommittee on Delivering on Government Efficiency plans to hold a hearing on federally funded television and radio, calling on both NPR and PBS CEOs to appear on Capitol Hill. Reporting for the National News Desk, I'm Jeff Harris.